So I had this one recommended in the comments, and thank you very much. It's fucking shit. Also known as Sidelined, The Perfect Daughter, and Deadly Vendetta, this is Lethal Soccer Mom. I'm Jay Harangue and I talk about soft porn and stalker movies.
You should subscribe.
So there's a big game today for the Rowley High School Wildcats. The blonde is Jenny and this other one is Hayley.
We're lucky to have you on our team.
I appreciate you saying that. Let's go out there and win.
They're going for their 5th state championship in a row this season under coach Rhonda Chalmers.
Now get out there and show them who you are!
But hang on, who's this hanging around with a crowbar? Jenny has got to go back to the locker room to get her shin guards, and while she's there...
Oh dear.
So looks like Jenny's out for the season. Then we meet Cameron and her mum. They've just moved house, so Cameron will be joining Rowley High School. She's the best soccer player ever, so she expects to walk into their team and guarantee them state championship number 5. On her first day, she bumps into Hayley, who sends her to the wrong room for a chemistry class. It turns out to be the janitor's closet, which is apparently hilarious.
Beg to differ.
When she gets to class, Cameron sits next to Kimmy, who seems normal.
Just a little friendly hazy. I get it.
Next up is psychology with Rhonda Chalmers, the soccer coach. Here we meet Paul. He's like the coolest guy in school, somehow. Paul is clearly interested in Cameron, but he's Hayley's boyfriend. And now it's time for soccer practice. Now, many of the reviews for this film mention how bad the actors are at soccer, but I'm sorry, those people clearly haven't seen Killer Cover-Up. If you've not seen that, there's a link to my rundown in the description. Compared to those girls, this lot are world class.
You're absolutely right.
Coach Chalmers decides to do one-on-one drills. She puts Hayley, who's her daughter by the way, against Cameron. After practice, Cameron is admiring the trophy cabinet.
We did it all without you.
Seems a bit bitter. Anyway, when Cameron gets out of the shower, Coach Chalmers is there. She tells her that academics come first and she doesn't play favourites. She also tells her that she may want to consider laying off the midnight snacks. This is a bit weird considering Cameron is already stick thin, and later we see some of the other athletes on this team. Next day, Cameron has a chemistry test. But what's this? After class, Coach Chalmers has snuck into the chemistry classroom and starts messing about with the test papers. Later, the school mascot pushes Cameron down the stairs. She's fine, but Coach Chalmers and the nurse make her sit out of practice in case she has a concussion.
Right, once the doctor clears you, you can come back to practice.
I'm sorry, Cameron.
She finds out who the mascot is and confronts him, but it wasn't him, so she assumes it was Hayley, who's now starting at centre in the game tomorrow, as Cameron is ruled out. They win the game easily and Hayley scores 2 goals. There's a college scout there, and she asks Coach Chalmers why Cameron wasn't playing. The coach starts slagging Cameron off to the scout, but she's not having any of it.
She's just not gelling with the team.
Hard to find that kind of raw talent, though, isn't it?
No.
Later, it seems Cameron has failed her chemistry test, and one more failed test will mean she can't play soccer anymore. Some good news though, the doctor has cleared her to play. But at practice, Coach Chalmers is like, sorry, we won the last game and my daughter scored 2 goals, so you'll have to wait for your chance. After school, Cameron tells her mum about this, so her mum goes up to the coach and is like, what are you doing? My daughter needs scouts to see her so she can go to college and then be a professional. Coach Chalmers is like, sorry, but it's my team and I'll do what I want.
My daughter's a better soccer player than yours, and you know it.
But Cameron blames Hayley for this, so the next day at lunch, she attacks her. So both girls are taken to the principal office and their mums are called in. They get away with it this time, but no more fighting. They also get sent to clean the boys' bathroom. Here they start bonding, and it turns out Hayley doesn't even like soccer that much and feels pressured by her mum. Cameron can relate because her mum pressures her to do her homework.
Why can't they just let us live our own lives?
Yeah. Then we see Coach Chalmers putting her daughter Hayley through some drills. Hayley's had enough of this and starts walking off. The coach is like, what are you doing?
I am setting you up for life.
I don't see how.
You think if someone had done this for me, I would have ended up a high school soccer coach?
Yes.
So even though it's clear her daughter lacks any sort of natural ability, her mum, who is a soccer coach, somehow believes that if she does enough training, she can make a career out of soccer.
I don't think so.
But Hayley's like, yeah, sorry, not interested. At the next practice, Cameron is killing it, and even though it looks like Hayley's quit, Coach decides to drug Cameron's water bottle. I assume that this would lead to her failing a drugs test or something, but no, she just pukes. Kimmy's heard that Hayley's quit, but Coach doesn't want to discuss it.
If I were you, I'd practice more and gossip less.
Ooh.
Kimmy's having a party tonight and Paul invites Cameron, but it looks like there's something going on between Paul and Coach Chalmers. And there is.
What?
My goodness.
And Kimmy sees. At the party that night, Paul kisses Cameron. This thing takes a photo of them and sends it to Hayley the next morning. When she gets to school, she's like, "What the fuck, Paul?" And he's like, "Look, Cameron's a really nice person, and your whole family is using me."
I wish I never met you.
So Hayley hates Cameron again and goes to ruin her weight session.
You think Paul's into you because you're hot?
I'd have thought so, yes.
Boys will be boys.
Anyway, Hayley tells Cameron that Paul was the one who pushed her down the stairs in the mascot suit.
See you on the field, bitch!
So looks like Hayley is rejoining the team, just to spite Cameron. Cameron confronts Paul about the mascot push incident. He says sorry, but there's no time to explain. In class, Cameron finds out she's failed another test.
Oh no!
So instead of going to the principal and telling her to speak to Paul, she decides to use the information Paul's given her to blackmail Coach Chalmers.
What an idiot.
I'm going to the principal.
Unless?
You give me a passing grade on this test.
Well, that sounds an awful lot like blackmail.
It is.
It hasn't worked, so Cameron's off the team. Her mum hears about this and is like, "Right, we're going to her house." When they get there, Coach is like, "You can be back on the team if you apologise to my daughter." Cameron's mum's like, "Whatever, I'm reporting you to the police." At this point, I'm thinking, finally, but she actually doesn't. The next day, Cameron is called into the principal's office. Coach Chalmers has reported her for attempted blackmail. Even though she denies it and her mum covers up for her, Cameron admits to it seconds later so she can get back in the team.
I did it.
Making her mum look like a right cunt. Her mum's like, "Okay, you said she blackmailed Rhonda."
What did she blackmail her with?
There's no answer to that. Everyone just leaves the room. Brilliant. Cameron's mum bollocks her for making her look like an absolute twat. Next day in chemistry, she seems to understand the work, so the teacher doesn't understand how she failed her test.
That's not my test.
What?
So Cameron takes a photo of the handwriting to find out who's doing this. Her first suspect is Hayley, but it's not her. She sees Kimmy later, who by the way has told no one about seeing Paul kissing Hayley's mum. Cameron gets a note from Paul in a locker saying to meet him at 9 p.m. But before he meets her, he goes to see Coach Chalmers. He calls her Rhonda, obviously, because they've been having sex.
Cameron needs to know. We're done.
When Cameron goes to meet Paul later, he gets run over. I wonder who that was. Anyway, next day the chemistry teacher marks Cameron's retest and she's got an A, so she's allowed back on the team. After an altercation in the car park, Cameron thinks she recognises Hayley's car as the one that ran Paul over. Next day she confronts her, but Hayley's like, "You need help. I don't go around running people over." Finally, Kimmy tells Hayley about Paul and her mum.
At last.
Before the first playoff game, Coach Chalmers has put Kimmy up front with Hayley. Kimmy's the midfielder and says, "Play Cameron. I can't play up front." When Coach starts shouting about how it's her team, Hayley, who's just found out her mum's been shagging her boyfriend, interrupts.
She plays forward or I don't play at all.
So Cameron plays, she's brilliant, and they win. After the game, Coach Chalmers asks Hayley what she was thinking. Hayley's like, "What are you on about, Mum? You've been screwing my boyfriend." And she's like, "You actually believe that?"
You got played.
So Hayley hates Cameron even more now. Cameron goes to visit Paul at the hospital.
Rhonda did it.
So instead of calling the police and getting to speak to Paul, Cameron decides to go snooping around the school. Why? To see if her handwriting matched the fake test.
Oh, I see.
Rhonda catches her and Cameron's like, "You're finished. You've been tampering with my test and you ran Paul over." She's like, "Yeah, but you've just been going through my things. What will the scouts think of that?" Before pushing her into a desk. This has left Cameron with another injury. Let's hope she's okay to play in the big game tomorrow. Side note, does this team have any away fixtures? All their games are in the school field. Anyway, Cameron is late, but Kimmy hangs back after the team talk to make sure Cameron plays if she shows up.
I know things. You and Paul, it's gross, but I don't care. Cameron starts if she shows up.
I agree.
So Kimmy wakes up tied up in what looks like a boiler room. Cameron has turned up, but the game has already started.
Aren't you injured?
I'm fine.
The Wildcats are losing, so Coach has to put Cameron on and moves Hayley to right wing.
When you get a chance, lay an elbow in right there.
What?
Hayley's like, "What? I'll get kicked out of the game." But Coach is like, "If you don't do this, we'll lose everything we've worked for." So Cameron scores a couple of goals and impresses the scouts. But at the first corner, Hayley follows her mum's instructions.
It was an accident.
The plan has failed though, as Cameron is fine to play on and the nurse won't stop her. So new plan. Cameron manages to escape and hides. Her mum comes looking for her, but Hayley's wondering where everyone is, so she's come back into the locker room and sees Cameron's mum out cold. Coach Chalmers has caught up to Cameron and there's this fight. I don't think the game was ever finished, but Coach Chalmers is taken away in an ambulance and Kimmy is freed. At an unspecified time later, we find out that Cameron has got into college. Yeah! So until next time, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and check out this other video. Thank you.